Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pie Guy and Brodeur. One voice, two minds. I'm your host, Pie Guy, and you know what? Today, we're talking all about the phrase, the word, embrace mistakes. That is right. And as always on these episodes, I'll be circling back with the one and the only Brodeur of Brodeurland, Mr. Brodeur. Hey, everybody. And Pie Guy, I am excited. More about mistakes, more about failure, and embracing it. And if you go back to our last episode on resilience, I really look forward to talking about failures and how I really use them to really motivate me and push myself forward. So I'm looking forward to embracing mistakes today. Mr. Brodeur, I don't even know what to say. You love this word failure, and now we're talking about embracing mistakes. So I'm hoping you can really turn me around to accepting mistakes, accepting failures in my life, because I'll be honest, it is very challenging for me and probably for a lot of our viewers and listeners out there. So without further ado, Mr. Brodeur, are you ready to jump on in and slice into this word of the week? Of course, Pie Guy. So take us away. Let's get things rolling. All right, Mr. Brodeur. So first and foremost, like we usually do on the previous couple episodes, I love asking you, what does it mean for today, talking about embracing mistakes? What does it mean to you? How do you define this idea, all revolving around this word, this phrase, embracing mistakes? So yes, Pie Guy, here's the deal. To me, it's all about mistakes. And mistakes are a sign that we are putting ourselves out there and we are challenging ourselves. See, we have to learn from our mistakes and we've got to keep moving forward. That will help us see our own personal growth in ourselves. And you know what? By growing, you'll be able to reach your goals. You'll be able to see that success that you're striving to reach. You know, Mike Tyson has a great quote that I love to share, especially when talking about embracing mistakes. And it goes like this: there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. What's wrong is not making the effort to make it right. You know what? Here's the deal. It's okay to make mistakes, but you have to correct them. And how do you correct them? By recognizing those mistakes and learning from them. That shows you how to move forward. That shows you the next path forward. If you don't correct the mistakes, then your life stays the same and you stay stagnant and you start to go, well, why am I not getting anywhere? Why is life not moving forward? And it's because you didn't want to embrace those mistakes. And by embracing them, it'll help illuminate your path forward to achieve those goals that you and everybody's trying to work towards in their own personal lives. Well, here you go again, Mr. Brodeur, with your love of the fall. And like I said earlier, this embracing failure. You talked about it again with this resilience. Now here with embracing mistakes. Yes, Pie Guy, you're right. And here's again what I need everybody to get out of today's discussion. And, branching on with resilience, right? Remember what I talked about in the previous episode. I talked about all these words of the week are going to branch together, right? And today, here's embracing mistakes, right? Because first, you have to have that resilience to get back up as fast as you can. Then you have to embrace the mistakes. You have to learn from the mistakes. You have to reflect on them. That way, then you can persevere forward. And so as you can kind of see, this embrace mistakes falls between this resilience and this perseverance. So here's the deal. And this is something for people to think about as well. When you have success in life, that's great. But here's the deal. If you can't understand why you had success, you can't repeat it, you can't reproduce it, then guess what? It's actually a failure. Wait a minute, Mr. Brodeur. Are you saying success is failure? No, Pie Guy. So let me backtrack a little bit. So when you reach a goal, it is because you have grown and you've improved yourself to really achieve that goal. But here's the deal. it's not all about achieving the goal, but rather who you have to become to achieve that goal. So Mr. Brodeur, you're saying the goals are great, but really you have to grow yourself. You have to make almost kind of like in games, you have to level up, and eventually you level up so much that you get what you need to beat that boss. Exactly, Pie Guy. And you know what? That is the beautiful part behind the adventure of achieving a goal. See, we have our ups and our downs. We'll have our successes, and sure, we'll have our setbacks. The main thing is, can you learn from those mistakes along the way? Can you fix them, try something else, and over time, see this personal growth in yourself? And here's the next question. Will it then propel you forward to achieve and see that success? See, here's the deal. Here's another quote I love, especially if I'm thinking about embracing mistakes. You can pick up a mistake and A, carry it as a burden, or B, you can set it down and use it as a stepping stone to greatness. Don't allow your mistakes to be burdens or roadblocks. Let them be stepping stones. Let them be lessons to help you move forward, to know where to go, and here's the kicker, where not to go again, because you don't want to repeat the same mistakes, right? You want to correct them and try something else. So are you going to look at mistakes in a good and healthy way, or let them stop you? Sure, sometimes we can be lucky and we can get a win, but if you can't replicate it, then it's because you lack the growth, you lack the skills, you lack that knowledge, you lack that wisdom, whatever you want to call it, of that success. And that's what makes some successes a failure if you can't repeat them, if you can't reproduce them. I see, Mr. Brodeur. So, for example, if I win a game, whether that's, let's say a video game I'm playing against my friend, but he beats me the rest of the time, I may have had a lucky break, but I didn't really understand why I won. I didn't really understand the techniques. I might have just kind of got lucky, or maybe he had a bad break or something like that. Yeah, correct, Pie Guy. And today it's all about understanding our failures and setbacks, and also understanding our successes. For example, if you go back to when I was teaching fall 2021, I taught, to me, the hardest set of students in my time of teaching so far, and that is the class of 2027. I was a 7th grade math teacher, and it took me pretty much up to Christmas break to really understand these students. I kept trying new strategies, changing and tweaking my seating charts, and more. You know what? You name it, I tried it. I would have maybe a successful day, and then followed by a couple of days of setbacks, right? And that's what I'm talking about. I might have been, hey, that seating chart worked, or hey, this new strategy worked, had a successful day, and then went, oh my gosh, what's going on? The next 2 days were like complete setbacks. So I kept reflecting. I kept embracing my mistakes, retooling my strategies, and eventually I made a breakthrough. Well, Mr. Brodeur, what was that breakthrough that you made? Great question, Pie Guy. What I learned, and I mean, you could say this for all students, right? There's a lot of students that this may pertain to, but in general, the groups of students that I was teaching in all my periods, I just felt like they lacked confidence, right? And so the rest of the year in all of my classes, I would take each question step by step and really feel the class out and really try to, I don't know if trick is the best word, but really kind of make them feel like the problem was easy and work them into finishing the problem without them even realizing it. Well, Mr. Brodeur, how did you do that? Yeah, so let me talk about that, Pie Guy. So for example, let's say I had a worksheet I was having them work on, or a couple problems up on the board, whatever the case may be. I might say, okay, everybody look at 1 through 5. All I want you to do is circle the X. And so this would be an example about solving for equations, right? So I'll tell everybody, take 30 seconds, 1 through 5, circle just the X. So everybody would go around and circle X, and they're like, oh, this is pretty easy. I got this. And I'm like, yeah, look at that. You circled. Yep. Good, good, good. So they see this immediate success and immediate feedback, and it's very easy for me to check everybody. Now, the next thing I would do is go, okay, who is outside the X in that friendship circle? So let's pretend the question was X plus 5. So they circle the X and they would say, well, Mr. Brodeur, plus 5 is outside the friendship circle, right? X is in the friendship circle, plus 5 is outside. So I would say, okay, do the opposite to both sides. So if it's a plus 5, they would say do a minus 5. So then I would say, okay, do that for all the problems. Do the opposite to both sides. And then they would go, okay. And then they would do it to all of them. Then you go to the next step. And before they knew it, they had finished 5 problems very quickly. Into some students, that was more problems than they've ever finished in a class period, because you couldn't even get them motivated. Now, you almost kind of trick them into going, hey, this is pretty easy. They see that success, and all of a sudden, they look at their paper and they go, I did all of this? And I would do the same with my classroom management. And of course, whatever else entailed of trying to make a successful classroom. I kept at it, and at the end of the year, I became a better teacher. I helped show these students success. And I will tell you this, it was not easy. It wasn't like, hey, this failed, let me go try this again. I mean, I would come home deflated. But the key is I couldn't be discouraged. It's okay to be disappointed, but I couldn't be discouraged. And I had to keep pushing forward. And it was not easy. Talk about hard mental days. But here's the deal. I was willing to push forward. I was willing to learn from my mistakes. And there were some teachers that they were willing to just suffer through. And no, I couldn't suffer through. I couldn't stay stagnant. Like I said earlier, you don't want to stay the same. You want to tweak things. You want to keep pushing forward and try new things until you get that success, until you can repeat it. And eventually I could do that. The funny thing is, at the end of the year, I thought, man, this class pushed me. I became better. Good thing, though, they're moving on. And that's when the administration came to me and said, hey, we want you to follow these these 7th graders up to 8th grade. So, Mr. Brodeur, let me ask you this. Did the next year go smoother with these students, or was it back to square one after the summer? That's a great question, Pie Guy. So I will say this. 8th grade went much smoother, because here's the deal. I accepted their challenge back in 7th grade. They helped me become a better teacher. So in general, 8th grade, when I was teaching them in the 8th grade, it went smoother. Sure, there were still trials. Sure, I had new students that I hadn't taught before, so getting to know them getting to know me. But again, they pushed me, and I accepted the challenges and my mistakes to keep growing. And I will be honest. Here's the thing I need everybody to understand too. To be honest, this crew is the reason in the birth of Brodeurland. In these words of the week, in everything we're doing, even this podcast right here, Pie Guy, me and you right now, this would probably not be going on right now if it wasn't for this crew of students, the class of 2027. They pushed me, and I told them the last day of their 8th grade year, kind of one of those last classes, I told them, you know what? I thank you guys for making me a better teacher. Wow, Mr. Brodeur. I appreciate you for really sharing this. I mean, I think I really got a lot out of this. I see you pushed through, you made a lot of mistakes, and you even said up until Christmas. I mean, that's a good, half of a year into the school year. Yeah, Pie Guy, I mean, that's true, right? A lot of times we think it's going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight, right? It takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes retooling, having that perseverance, having that resilience, piecing it all together, right? Well, thank you so much. Again, Mr. Brodeur, for really sharing this and really reiterating that this isn't easy. And sure, it's maybe easy for us to look back and go, wow, look at what Mr. Brodeur did, but reminding us that this is an adventure, this is a challenge, And mentally, it can be a strain. So let me ask you this. Did you see success afterwards the following years? You know what, Pie Guy? I did. Did I have setbacks some days? Sure. Am I here to tell you things are perfect and this is a piece of cake now? No, I'm not here to tell you that, right? Things are still hard and things of that nature, but the next 2 years, for the most part, went more smoothly. I was able to build confidence in myself. I was able to retool Brodeurland, build it up, add more layers to it, really build this idea in this world of perseverance that the students could come to every day. And sure, some trials and errors while trying new things with Brodeurland, whether it's songs, videos, whatever you want to say. But I was able to repeat my success more times than not. But, Mr. Brodeur, here we go. I hear a but right there. Did you stumble? Did you have a major setback in those next 2 years? Well, Pie Guy, yeah, I will say I did. In year 2, I had a 6 period that, man, talk about probably, if you want to hands down pick a class out of all my years teaching, just like a period, that was probably one of my most difficult periods I've ever had to teach. The rest of the day leading up to 6th period, man, they were great. Had a lot of success. Sure, little ups and downs here and there. But in general, the rest of the day was great. But this period brought a brand new challenge. They would come in all wound up, could care less about my class, math, whatever I was throwing at them. Words of the week, persevering. I mean, they just could care less. I tried so many things, seating charts, strategies. It took time, a day of success, then a class or 2, or even a week of failure, right? Eventually, after months in, and here's the deal, consistently trying and pushing the class, it started to get more controllable and teachable and moldable. I was becoming an even better teacher. And a lot of these students were seeing the confidence in themselves and they were buying in. Now, I don't want to say everybody did. You're always going to have those few that you're constantly pushing. But man, I can think right now on the top of my head, 5 that at the beginning of the year, you could never make them pick up a pencil and do any work. By the end, they're asking me questions. They're working ahead. And I'm like, this is amazing. And it's just when you reflect back, you just go, this is all worth it. In the moment, it gets really hard. And it's tempting to want to fall into this whole being discouraged, right? Like I said, you can't be discouraged because discouraged is going to make you stop. But you got to be a goldfish. Whoa. Wait, Mr. Brodeur. Be a goldfish? Now, I know if we rewound a couple of episodes, I think even back to the Brodeurland Origins episode, you did mention goldfish. I didn't stop you, I believe. So let me ask you this. What does it mean to be a goldfish? Good question, Pie Guys. So be a goldfish came from a TV show I watched called Ted Lasso. And what that coach says to somebody that makes a mistake, and also to, of course, his players that he's coaching, is he says, what's the happiest animal in the world? He says it's a goldfish because it has a 10-second memory. Now, some people listening might say, Mr. Brodeur, I don't know if that's 100% true. I don't care if it's true. I don't care if it's false, legend, myth. The key is this. Don't allow the mistakes to weigh you down. Reflect on them for a little bit. Now, maybe 10 seconds is a little too quick, but maybe a minute, maybe a day. But you can't dwell on them. You got to reflect on them, and then you got to move forward with a plan. Embrace those mistakes to persevere forward. Now, here's the other way you can use this idea of being a goldfish. Don't get an ego from your success. Like we said, you could have got success, but do you know how to repeat it? So be able to reflect on it and then be able to repeat it. Reflect on that success. Ask yourself, why did it work? See if you can push yourself forward. Or maybe you've been repeating it a lot. See if you can push yourself to the next level. And here is where being a goldfish really played into becoming part of the Brodeurland motto, right? Because that is the Brodeurland motto when I introduce class every single day in all of my periods, right? It started at a trip at Jekyll Island, and me and my co-teacher, we were partnered up, and our first day, we had this group of boys and talk about testing the limits. We had to pull one from one session and one from another session and really settle them down, try to correct them. And even that first night in the cabin, man, they were off the walls. Talk about trying to settle them down, right? So the next morning, me and my co-teacher, Coach Benowitz, we sat them down and I talked to them and I said, here's the deal. You guys aren't in school. This is a great opportunity to have fun. You know, you're not sitting in a classroom. We're able to have fun, enjoy this time, right? And that's when I talked about being a goldfish and having that goldfish mentality. And so we go to that first session. I think we were even dissecting sharks, so we were really worried with them on that one. And we reminded them right before we started, remember, be a goldfish. We got to turn things around. So they did great. And afterwards, they all met up and we said, okay, you guys did amazing, but here's the deal. We got to be able to repeat this. Remember, be a goldfish. And this one kid said, yeah, be a goldfish. And I forget what we were called. We were called like the snakes, like each group had a name. So they ended up saying, can we change our name? And they put their hands in and they said, 1, 2, 3, goldfish. And they started to run with it. So we went to the next class or the next session. And then they did great. And then they would say, all right, 1, 2, 3, goldfish. And it just kept going on to the point that each group had to help serve and do dishes for either lunch, dinner, and something of that nature. And for us, we had dinner duty that night. And talk about the team coming together, running efficiently. They were all in it. It was a great team effort. Brodeurland goldfish mentality, right? And it was just awesome. And that's when the Brodeurland motto was created. Wow, Mr. Brodeur, I really love it. Pie-tacular right there. Now, I will admit, this Be a Goldfish motto has me coming around and really understanding the importance of, embracing mistakes. That's so great to hear, Pie Guy, because, again, failure shows you are trying. And if you embrace mistakes, you can gather so much wisdom and understanding to better yourself and improve your success or correct your failures to achieve that goal that we're all trying to achieve, whatever that is, or goals that you are looking towards in your own life. Well, Mr. Brodeur, I like to always end this way too. Is there anything else you would like to share with us today on embracing mistakes? Before we go, anything that you just feel like, hey, let me just throw this out before we wrap things up. Yeah, so Pie Guy, before we wrap things up, I remember this quote, and it goes like this: mistakes are painful, but as time goes on, it becomes a collection of experiences called lessons. Live life and embrace life lessons. Again, like I said, mistakes are painful. I'm a perfectionist, and I will tell you this: it sucks to make a mistake. So I need to, and I've needed to in the past, to change my mindset at times. And like I said, be that goldfish, right? Also, time is the best healing factor. In the moment, it is hard and we can get discouraged with setbacks and mistakes. You see, it's okay again to be disappointed, but never be discouraged. Again, being discouraged stops you and you can't stop. Disappointment, you can use as motivation. You can use as fuel. You can propel yourself forward. And we can even laugh at ourselves when we connect the dots looking backwards and learn from those mistakes. So keep that in mind as we wrap things up and we tie embracing mistakes off with a bow. Well, thanks again, Mr. Brodeur. I think I really got a lot out of embracing mistakes. I'm coming around even more about this idea that failure is okay. Accept it, move forward, and use it as that motivation to grow and become, like you say, Mr. Brodeur, be that best version of yourself. So, like I always say to everybody, Stay infinite, my friends. And Mr. Brodeur, lead us off in style right here. All right, bye, guy. So always remember, you guys all make each day a special day by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you, and we like you just the way you truly are. It's good that you exist, but you got to go out there. You got to embrace those mistakes. Be that goldfish so you can propel yourself forward to become that best version of yourself. So until next time, Brodeur out. Peace.